Hey guys, welcome back to a new weekly outlook video. So I hope you guys had a lovely weekend and ready for the week ahead of us. So starting with the daily time frame on EU, I haven't decided which pairs I'm going to do yet, but I'll just go through my list and wing it. But yeah, on the daily time frame, you can see on EU, we haven't exactly tapped into it as of yet. We're still within a weekly supply zone, which is from here. We've taken out the first tap, so we could potentially go lower because we haven't broken with a body close. So you can see we've had a wick close, and from last week we've had a rejection to the upside, so we could potentially continue higher, come into this demand zone on the daily time frame, supply zone on the daily time frame, and potentially continue lower because all that liquidity, look at all that sell side liquidity to target. So yeah, we want to see how we react. We may be bullish for the first half of the week and then bearish for the rest of the week and going into next week, because we do have this reaction. We can see maybe a reaction from this daily supply zone because they hold more weight, and another confluence would be we've taken out the first tap as well. So yeah, we may continue to the downside. So on the daily time frame, you can see we are internally bullish. So we have this low, high, low, high. Let me mark it on for you guys. Low, high, low, high, low, which is a sweep. High, low, high, low, high as of now. So at the moment, we're within this bullish leg on the daily time frame. So we have here. We've tapped into the discount pricing for buys from last week, and you can see from the last couple days of the week we were just ranging within this little range. So we do have liquidity to take from the upside and the downside. So let's see what happens. So ideally we want to take out the lows first and then continue higher before going down again. But if it wants to go higher before anything, then we can just look for longs once market opens tonight and tomorrow morning and continue lower. So I do think we're gonna come hit this area this week, but yeah, let's see. So let's go on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, nothing much is happening. We're still within this leg. We have this extreme here. We've reacted to a 4 hour demand here. And we've had one shift to the upside and one shift to the downside, but it's not really a change of trend because overall we are bullish, even though we have all this sell side liquidity to target. But at the moment we have liquidities here, liquidity here. So let's see if we sweep high or low first and see what the internal structure is showing us. But yeah, ideally up. And then I meant down, sweep these lows, high, sweep the highs as well, and sweep these highs because people would be looking to sell from here potentially, and that's a trap. And this is the daily supply zone here to target. So let me see. That's like a 80 pip move, 90, nearly 100 pip move, because we could come back deeper into the POI. So yeah, let's see how price reacts once we open, because we could continue higher or lower. And then if I just go on the 15-minute quickly, like all this is just rangy mess. But internally we have demand in control because we have this extreme demand here. And then potentially there was a flip zone here because this is a break and then this is another break. And then we've had a reaction to internal demand zones here, and then you can see we had a nice shift and we had another shift here, even though it's a wick close, but it shows that demand is still in control. Then we had another extreme continuation, liquidity here that was built during Asia, taken out. People will be looking to sell from here, trap, and then continue higher, break of structure there, and then came back to like the extreme as well. Extreme again, swept the first tap, liquidity, whatever you want to call it, break of structure here, and yeah, at the moment we just continue higher. So we want to see how we react from this 15 minutes demand zone here as well. because there's liquidity here to be targeted as well. So we want to see how we react from here and continue higher and potentially take out these highs to target, and you can probably hold until the supply zone up here. So yeah, that's my outlook for EU, just a quick one. And then moving on to GU, we'll start with the daily time frame. Daily time frame, we have, let me just see what this is. Okay, so this is a weekly premium discount tool. So overall, GU has been going down since, 2007. And this is like the overall bearish leg on the weekly time frame. And obviously that holds a lot of weight, and we have tapped back into this premium pricing for sells. And as you can see, we've tapped into it here, the first one, and now we've shifted, swept the first one as well, first tap into this whole range and in premium. So it would be around like here. So first tap, shift to downside, liquidity grab, and now we've shifted to the upside. So we could potentially continue higher because there's loads of areas to target up here, like liquidity and the extreme, of course. But at the moment we are intraday traders, so we want to focus on the lower time frames. So on the daily time frame, you can see we've had this flip zone here because this is the last low, last high, and the low that was basically a wick. So it's like a liquidity grab. But this is one bearish leg on the daily time frame, and you can see we've had a reaction here, and then we've obviously broken that structure. So we obviously have this to target. If it does want to come back here, we can continue looking for longs, because this is mitigated basically, and we have obviously have the extreme, but the extreme didn't really do much because this is where the bullish momentum started from. Well, I guess you could say that this is where the bullish momentum came from because that's where the wick rejection started from. But at the moment, price doesn't need to go back that low if it wants to continue higher. That makes sense. And then we have all that liquidity here. We've had a shift here, and then that was a trap basically, but it did react. As you can see, we had some nice bearish momentum for about 43 days, which is literally a whole month. So that was some nice shorting opportunities there. And obviously we broke this structure, so we could have just looked for more shorts, which is something here I believe I was looking at, even though I don't really trade GU. But obviously there's this daily supply, there's this area here, and you can see obviously we failed it. We did have a nice reaction, so you could have taken some trades from there, but overall we failed to make a new low and we created a flip zone here. So I believe this is a 4 hour. So price could potentially come down, sweep these lows and continue higher into this daily supply. Or we have the same scenario as EU where price could come back into daily supply and then drop and take out this liquidity and continue higher. But yeah, let's see what happens on the lower time frames as well. And then we have like this daily thing here, which ended up being a trap because although we did break structure to downside, I guess because we shifted bullish over there, that's why it started failing. So on the 4 hour, so obviously this is the extreme. Yeah, not much to say here. Four-hour demands are being respected, except for this. We still haven't tapped into this extreme yet. We don't need to. We have the sweep here, break of structure here, liquidity building here. So we could potentially come back lower, come into here, and continue higher. This is going to be a trap, most likely. This is most likely a trap, so we'll just mark that on. And then potentially some liquidity sweeps here before continuing higher. Or we could sweep these highs and continue lower first, come back into this area and continue higher. But overall, we are bullish on the 4 hour because we have this break and then liquidity being generated. yeah, that's my 4 hour that I'll be looking for at the moment. Otherwise, price could come back lower. But if it wants to go higher, it doesn't need to. And then if I go on the 15-minute, let me see what's happening. Quite messy. You can see we're quite rangy as well. This is basically the extreme. So we had a shift here, and then let's see if it's come back to it as of yet. No, we have not, I believe. No, so we could potentially come here. But the only problem is with this demand zone that, did we sweep? Let's see. No, we generated equal lows, so this could potentially get swept and continue higher. But yeah, because if this wick was lower, that would be a high probable one. But yeah, let's see if we do react from this 15-minute zone or not. And then this was a trap eventually, and then liquidity here. I guess we swept. No, we haven't swept this low. We swept this low. And then we had some news events, I guess, because of all this wickiness. But on the 15-minute, nothing too much is happening for my liking, to be honest. Let's see. Did we sweep this low? We did sweep these lows. And then this 1 hour doji hasn't been tapped into. That's why I'm reacting from it. But I wouldn't be looking for sells up here. I would look for buys. We've had a shift here as well. Wick. And then a body break here with this high. Let me see on the 15-minute. Yeah, so this is basically the whole 15-minute leg. Nothing much is happening. I want to see the 30. Guess we could use this, but this is quite a big area. If I just go down lower, 20, I guess. 10-minute extreme, I guess we could do, but this is like a reaction zone. Like here, we have a supply zone here, and this is the reaction zone, flip zone here. Okay, two different colors, but yeah. Yeah, this is liquidity here, and then we are basically bullish as well on GU. So ideally, some nice buys could be happening this week. Early mornings of of London session. But yeah, that's my outlook because all this wick rejection as well on the 4 hour, so we could continue higher and take out these highs. If any buy setups happen, we would take it and target these highs as the first target. Well, this high as the first target, and then eventually this one, because this is like drawing liquidity to it. Should I do AU? AU is actually quite nice. Like when I looked back on it, it was like really nice because this daily supply I drew back in like I think January. And it did tap him back into it, and now we've had a nice, bearish reaction from it on the daily time frame. Here at the moment, we're just ranging, complex pullback, whatever. And then we have like this last daily unmitigated area. So price could potentially come back here and continue lower. But yeah, this is quite nice. Like when you look at this picture, this is like the ideal setup we want to take. Because it's from a long time ago. This is the target that was met a long time ago as well. And then we had this sweep of this high and then a nice shift, like bearish momentum to downside. But yeah, just a quick run through for AU. Not much, to be honest. Like this is the last daily supply zone that I would be looking at, or this is liquidity, internal liquidity to me. So I want to see how we react from here. This would be like a longer term plan for me because we've had a break here and a reaction to this supply, which caused the supply, which is this demand, which is the extreme, and then this daily is the decisional candle. This is nice as well because we had a sweep of the lows as well. We haven't tapped into it, so these would be my two daily areas that I would look at in the long term, even though I don't trade it. But yes, I mean, it would be to here, or continue higher, or here. Continue high as well. But obviously this is like on the daily time frame, and that's intraday trading gives opportunities as well. So at the moment we've swept these lows here, broke structure to the upside, started having demand respect, like shift here, demand respect, shift here, a sweep, shift here, bullish momentum to the upside, liquidity swept, and now we are pushing back to the upside. Had a sweep here. And another reaction here to this. Oh, we haven't tapped into it, so potentially this 4-hour zone. But there's no liquidity sweep here, but this would be all the inducement that would be swept first. So ideally, yeah, maybe into here and continue higher, because overall it's bearish. So we want to come back into potentially up here, take out these highs and continue lower. But yeah, AU is actually bearish. Well, it's been bearish since February. So yeah, let's see what this week brings us. On the 15-minute, if I want to look for sells, I would potentially look at here, the extreme here with liquidity to be swept here. This one doesn't really have any liquidity except for like this high, but it needs to generate liquidity before I look for anything. And then all this is liquidity, so we want to take out this high potentially and continue lower. But yeah, here I guess I was seeing how we would react. So this is where the shift happens as well. So all that liquidity swept, shift, respect, shift, respect, shift, and then liquidity here. But yeah, that's my outlook for AU. Should I do gold? Should I do US30? I'll just do US30. US30 on the 1 hour, you can just clearly see it's bullish. On the daily time frame, let's see. On the daily time frame, nothing's too much is happening. We've swept the highs. Have we reacted to this supply zone? Yes, we have here. And then we had a sweep of the highs, sweep of the lows. Reaction back into this supply zone. First tap swept, shift, and you can see that price doesn't want to go lower. So we have reacted to nothing I can see on this daily time frame, to be honest. Weekly, not really, we just swept the lows here. On the 4 hour, not much I can see from. It's just reacted to something. Potentially there's a zone, but this zone didn't really cause anything to the left. But you can see 4 hour shift, 4 hour. 4 hours bullish, so we could have this extreme here. And all that liquidity. This is just on the 4 hour, so price does have room to come lower. But if I'm looking for sells POI, shift here, potentially where it's reacting from now, like this is literally the extreme. Or it could come back higher and take out these highs first and react from this extreme wick here. So we could have this extreme wick as yet to be reached, and then continue low, I guess. Not much happening on this US30. On the 1 hour time frame, we're just ranging. As you can see, this is quite a boring pair, so let's just leave that for now. Should I do gold? Gold is bullish. So on the weekly time frame, we are clearly bullish. We have these highs to be taken out. We did come quite close to it back in March last year, but we didn't take out the highs. We swept all this liquidity, reacted to a daily, a weekly flip zone here. You can see, if you can see, flip zone here, probably a daily as well. Liquidity swept, shifted on the weekly. Oh, we haven't swept the lows, which is concerning because that could mean that this could be swept. Because ideally, if this was swept, this would make a nice POI. But nonetheless, let's see what price brings us because we've had a shift here. This is a flip zone. You can see failure, flip, liquidity resting here, liquidity resting there for this flip zone. And then this is a daily flip zone as well. We had a shift. Supply zone here and then a flip, and right now we're just wiki, but it looks like we're going to take out these highs, so I would say gold is bullish. So this is like the extreme of the leg because this is where the reaction happens, and then this is where the failure happens, where the extreme is. Liquidity, 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 liquidity here as well. Yeah, this is just equal lows to be taken and then imbalances, I guess you could say, to fill here. Not much is happening, but yeah, liquidity here, and I would just say down and target to the upside. And then on the 4 hour, 4 hour has been rangy as well. It's just like, although you can see that it's like bullish, but it's quite rangy because we could have a reaction from here, but there's liquidity resting here and here especially. So we could see probably a flip reaction to downside to be taken. We have equal highs here as well, so we could continue up and down or down and up. But I do expect these highs to be taken sometime this week or next week. Yeah, not much to say on the 1 hour, on the 4 hour, and on the 1 hour we are bearish. If I just look at this piece of price action, we didn't have a sweep of the high, which is concerning as well, because if that was a sweep of the high and a shift, that would be nice momentum to the downside, because we have shifts, sweep of this high, shift, extreme, break, shift, immense sweep, and then potentially target these lows. So if I'm looking for sales, I would target these lows as the first target, but at the moment nothing really too clean on the 50-minute. This was caused by news, so it's not less likely to hold, but you could potentially look for entries here. And then if we take out these highs, I would look to continue bullish to take out these highs, because that's like a trap. It's like everyone's going to be selling from here, so we could have a reaction, but overall bullish on GU. So yeah, let's look at DXY quickly. So DXY on the 4 hour, you can see we are clearly bearish, which means EU is continuing higher, because DXY and EU correlate really, really well. With the other pairs, it's not so much, but you can use that as well as to your confluences. But yeah, DXY is good with EU. So yeah, let's see what happens if we sweep the highs, sweep the lows, liquidity on both sides of the market, because it's a ranging market, and then we can continue higher or continue lower. But overall it's bearish, and with fundamentals as well to support that. Let's see for news this week. We have a couple red folder, not too much, so it's not gonna affect us that much. But yeah, so that's all for this week. And if you want to join my group, I made a website so you can go through it and you can see all the services that I offer here, and you can just click on the links and proceed. And yeah, hope to see you guys in my community, and I hope you all had a lovely weekend, and I shall see you guys soon for a new weekly outlook video or a trade recap. We'll see how it goes. So yeah.